The knife slipped from my hand, clattering against the sink in my cramped Chicago apartment, blood mixing with soapy water like the secrets I'd spilled to the wrong person. My boss's voice echoed in my head. "You're one of those?" As the board's whispers turned to outright rejection, my career in graphic design crumbling overnight because loving men made me a liability in their eyes. I packed a single bag that night, fleeing to the outskirts of Willow Creek, a forgotten dot on the Pennsylvania map, where an animal shelter promised anonymity amid the chaos of strays and second chances. By dawn, I was knee-deep in kennels, the scent of wet fur and kibble grounding me like nothing else could. Willow Creek Animal Haven wasn't glamorous, just a low-slung brick building on the edge of cornfields, staffed by a rotating crew of locals who eyed newcomers with polite suspicion. I signed up as Alex Rivera, no last name needed for volunteers, my resume a blank slate. Fresh start, I muttered to myself, scrubbing out a water bowl as if it could wash away the betrayal. The director, a wiry woman named Marta with laugh lines etched deep from years of wrangling rescues, handed me a mop without questions. "We don't pry here," she said, her voice gravelly from cigarettes she swore off a decade ago. "Animals don't care about your baggage." That first week blurred into a rhythm of feedings and walks, the dog's eager tails a balm against the knot in my chest. There was Buddy, the old lab with hips that clicked like castanets, who leaned into my leg as if I were his last hope. And Luna, a sleek greyhound mix with eyes like shattered glass, who flinched at shadows but melted under scratches. They didn't judge the tremor in my hands or the way I'd jolt at sudden noises, remnants of that final office confrontation where fists hadn't flown but words had sliced deeper. Hiding felt like breathing now, each shift a layer of camouflage. Willow Creek was small, sure, diner gossip and Sunday potlucks the height of excitement, but it was miles from the city's glare, where every glance could unmask you. Marta became an unlikely anchor, her stories of lost causes filling the quiet afternoons. "Ran this place since '98, she'd say, tossing treats to a litter of kittens. "Seen every kind of broken walk through those doors." She never pushed for mine, but her knowing nods suggested she saw the fractures anyway. Then there was Riley, the teenage volunteer with neon blue hair and a collection of pins on her backpack. Trans Pride, by Flag, a cartoon cat mid-pounce. She was all energy and zero filter, blasting indie playlists while mucking stalls. "You're too pretty to be straight-up miserable," she'd tease, bumping my shoulder. "Spill, or I'll guess. Bad breakup? Alien abduction?" I'd laugh it off, but her easy acceptance chipped at my walls. In Chicago, coming out had been a battlefield. Here, it was just another flavor of normal. Friendship crept in uninvited, like sunlight through blinds. Riley dragged me to the local coffee shop after shifts, a hole in the wall called Brew Haven where the barista, a lesbian named Jordan with tattoos snaking up her arms, comped our lattes for shelter folk. Jordan's wife, Sam, ran the bookstore next door, and their banter, playful jabs about wedding anniversaries and who burned the last batch of scones, reminded me of what I'd lost. A chosen family, pieced together against the world's odds. "You fit right in," Jordan said one evening, sliding me a slice of cherry pie. "Willow Creek chews up the fakers, spits out the real ones." I wanted to believe her, but doubt lingered like fog over the creek. What if they knew? The emails from my sister, half concern, half ultimatum, piled up unread in my phone. "Come home, Alex. Dad's sorry. Sort this out." Sorry didn't erase the disownment threat, the way my own blood had turned conditional overnight. Nights were the hardest, alone in the rented room above the hardware store, walls thin enough to hear the owner's TV droning infomercials. I'd scroll old photos, me and my ex, Theo, grinning at pride parades, his arm a shield against the crowd, until he sold me out to climb the corporate ladder, whispering my truths to the higher-ups for a promotion. Trust shattered. I'd bolted, landing here where leashes and litter boxes drowned the what-ifs. But isolation bred paranoia. Every truck rumbling by felt like pursuit. Every stranger's stare a spotlight. Volunteering kept me tethered, the animal's unconditional need a mirror to my own. It was on a crisp October Thursday, leaves crunching underfoot like brittle promises, that everything shifted. I was in the backyard, wrestling a cone of shame onto a hyper beagle named Max when the gate creaked open. Footsteps, measured, confident, approached, and I looked up into eyes the color of storm-tossed seas. Dr. Elias Grant stood there, chart in hand, his white coat pristine against the mud-splattered grass. Willow Creek's only vet, I'd heard the whispers. Miracle worker with strays, heartbreaker with hearts. Tall, with shoulders that filled doorways and dark curls tamed just enough for professionalism. He exuded a quiet command that made the air hum. "Need a hand." His voice was low, laced with amusement as Max darted between us. I fumbled the cone, heat rising in my cheeks, not from exertion, but from the way his gaze lingered, appraising, like he'd already mapped my defenses. "I'm good," I lied, clipping the leash shorter. But he knelt anyway, his fingers deft as he secured the collar, brushing mine in the process. A spark, electric and unwelcome, jolted through me. He straightened, wiping dirt on his jeans, and that's when he smiled, slow, knowing, as if he'd caught me red-handed in a lie bigger than the Beagle's escape attempt. "Alex, right? Marta's new star. How did he know my name?" The shelter grapevine, probably. But there was something in his tone, a warmth that bordered on intimate, like we'd shared secrets I couldn't recall. I nodded, busying myself with Max's lead, heart pounding against ribs I'd armored for months. Hiding was supposed to be safe here, invisible. Yet Elias Grant had tracked me down in the span of a single afternoon, and that smile promised he saw right through the facade. As he examined Max's paw, a minor scrape from romping too hard, Elias chatted effortlessly, his questions light but probing. "What brought you to Willow Creek?" "City boy, I'd wager." His eyes flicked to my sneakers, scuffed from Chicago sidewalks. I shrugged, muttering about needing a change, but he didn't press, just nodded like he understood the unspoken. Riley, watching from the fence, shot me a thumbs up and a mouthed hot. That nearly made me choke. Elias caught it, chuckling, a sound rich and unguarded that loosened something in my chest. By shift's end, he'd volunteered to cover the next adoption event, his presence a ripple through the routine. Marta clapped him on the back, old friends apparently, and Riley cornered me in the supply closet. "Dude, that's Dr. Dreamy. Gay as a rainbow flag, or so the rumors go. You gonna make a move, or what?" I waved her off, but sleep evaded me that night, Elias's smile replaying like a glitchy film reel. Hiding meant solitude, not this dangerous pull toward light. Days bled into weeks, the shelter a stage for our orbiting paths. Elias dropped by thrice weekly, his truck a familiar rumble in the lot. He'd consult on limps and lumps, but lingered after, sharing coffee from a thermos that tasted like home, strong, black, no frills. Conversations started safe, favorite breeds, worst rescue stories. "Had a cat once swallow a sock," he said, leaning against the counter, sleeves rolled to elbows revealing forearms corded from farm calls. "Thought we'd lose her. Pulled it out whole, like a magic trick." I'd laugh, the sound foreign after months of silence, and he'd watch me with that intensity, as if memorizing the curve of my mouth. Underneath, my past clawed back. A voicemail from Theo, "Miss you, babe. Let's talk." Deleted before it finished. My sister's texts escalated. "Family meeting. Dad's changing." Lies, I knew. Prejudice didn't pivot on command. It fueled the walls I built higher around Elias, even as Riley and Jordan schemed introductions. Game night at our place. Jordan insisted one Friday, her arm linked with Sam's. "Elias is coming." No excuses. The bookstore's back room smelled of aged paper and cinnamon candles, a queer haven in this straight-laced town. Laughter flowed with cards and craft beer, Sam recounting their elopement in the Poconos. Vows under a waterfall, no drama, while Riley dominated Uno with gleeful sabotage. Elias arrived last, bearing pie from his mother's recipe, his button-down untucked casual. He settled beside me on the sagging couch, our knees brushing, sending awareness skittering up my spine. "Heard you're a designer," he said, dealing me in. "How?" "Marta, again." We played, bantered, his dry wit matching my sarcasm, and for hours, the room felt like belonging. Until Jordan asked about exes, the game turning confessional. Mine was a control freak, Sam shared. Riley, straight girl phase, disaster. Elias's turn came, his voice steady. Last one thought love meant ownership. Taught me boundaries. His glance my way held weight, unspoken invitation. I deflected, blaming the beer, but later, on the porch under stars pricked like promises, he cornered me gently. You're holding back, Alex. Like you're waiting for the other shoe. Moonlight silvered his features, vulnerability cracking his poise. I wanted to spill, the betrayal, the flight, but fear clamped my throat. Just cautious, I whispered. He nodded, not pushing, but his hand grazed my arm, lingering. When you're ready. That touch haunted me, a bridge I wasn't sure I could cross. November brought chill winds and fuller kennels, holidays looming like indictments. The shelter buzzed with turkey drives, Elias orchestrating spay-neuter clinics with efficiency that bordered on grace. We'd team up, him suturing while I held paws steady, our rhythms syncing like old partners. You're a natural, he'd murmur, and I'd flush, crediting the animals. But off hours, tension simmered. Riley noticed, teasing over lunch. Sparks could ignite the hay bales. Jordan, wiser, pulled me aside. He's solid, Alex. But ghosts don't fade alone. Her words echoed as I dodged family calls, the noose of expectation tightening. Then the misunderstanding hit, sharp as a snare. A new volunteer, Tom, burly, married, with a mustache like a broom, joined, his jokes veering crude. Gotta watch these city types, he muttered during a walk, eyeing me, bringing their agendas. I froze, old wounds reopening. Elias overheard, stepping in smooth. We watch for heart here, Tom. Not labels. But later, alone, doubt festered. Was Elias defending me, or the shelter's image? I pulled back, shifts clipped, smiles strained. He noticed, of course, those eyes missed nothing. Talk to me. He pressed one rainy afternoon, rain sheeting the windows like tears. It's nothing. I lied, but he blocked the door, patient as stone. Feels like everything. The dam cracked then, words tumbling. Theo's betrayal, the job loss, the hideout in Willow Creek. Not all, not the family fracture, but enough. Elias listened, fury flashing for my pain, then softening to sorrow. That's not on you. It's their smallness. He pulled me into a hug, arms solid, scent of antiseptic and pine enveloping. I stiffened, then melted, the embrace a lifeline. Stay, he whispered. Let me in. But trust was a fragile thing, and Willow Creek's undercurrents stirred. Town hall whispers about that shelter crowd, code for us queers, reached Marta's ears. Riley's parents, conservative holdouts, grounded her for the pins. And my sister arrived unannounced, car crunching gravel like Judgment Day. Alex, enough running. Her hug was tight, eyes pleading, but behind her, Dad's shadow loomed in texts. Time to man up. The confrontation spilled into the yard, voices rising as Elias pulled up for rounds. He stayed back, but his presence bolstered me. I'm building something here, I told her, voice steady for the first time. She left unconvinced, but the seed was planted, roots taking hold. Elias found me later, shattered but standing. Proud of you, he said, and the kiss that followed was inevitable, soft under the shelter's eaves, tasting of rain and revelation. Not passion's blaze, but hope's quiet flame. Winter deepened, snow blanketing fields in deceptive peace. Elias and I navigated new territory, dinners at his cabin, hands intertwined over soup, stories traded like currency. His past unfolded. Orphan young, raised by an aunt who taught him healing over hiding. Came out at 16, he said, fire crackling. Lost friends, gained clarity. Our bond wove tighter, laced with friends' support. Riley's murals on the kennels, Jordan's book club picks on resilience. But prejudices simmered, Tom's barbs escalating to flyers. Protect our town, vet the agenda. Elias's clinic vandalized, windows soaked with slurs. Conflict crested at the holiday adoption fair, lights strung festive against gathering dusk. Crowds milled, families cooing over pups, but tension crackled. Tom cornered me by the raffle table, breath sour. Your kind's ruining this place. Before I could retort, Elias appeared, voice steel. Leave, Tom, or the board hears everything. Whispers spread, eyes turning. Riley rallied, her blue hair a banner. We're family here. But the real blow came later. My father, driving through uninvited, face thunderous at the sight of Elias's arm around me. Dad. Words failed as he spat venom. Old hurts raw. This life's a phase. Come home. Elias tensed, but I stepped forward, voice breaking free. This is home. And this is me. He stormed off, tires spinning snow, but in the aftermath, clarity bloomed. Elias held me through the sobs, his steadiness a vow. We'll face it together. Spring thawed the ground, mirroring shifts within. The shelter thrived, adoptions soaring amid community pushback. Town meetings where Jordan spoke fierce. Sam circulated petitions. Tom's resignation was a quiet victory, prejudice's grip loosening under collective will. My family fractured further, sister a lying tentative, dad's silence a wall. But healing began in increments, letters exchanged, truths aired. Elias and I, through it all, grew roots deep. Walks by the creek turned confessional, vulnerabilities shared like shared breaths. You saved me. I admitted one dawn, mist rising. He smiled, that knowing curve, and kissed my temple. We saved each other. Friendships solidified. Riley's prom date as our +1, Jordan's anniversary bash a riot of toasts. Surprises dotted the path. A surprise clinic expansion funded by Elias's grant, my designs breathing life into the walls. Yet climax brewed in summer's heat, a storm of old and new. Theo appeared, suit rumpled, eyes haunted. I was wrong. Forgive me. The plea reopened scars, temptation whispering second chances. Elias, sensing the pull, withdrew, not jealous, but wounded. Choose your peace, he said, voice strained. Misunderstanding festered, my silence damning. Riley intervened, blunt. Don't trade gold for fool's pyrite. Confrontation came at the creek, truths exploding. Theo's remorse hollow, my heart Elias's alone. Reconciliation was raw, apologies layered with fears aired. I thought you'd run. Elias confessed, hands trembling. Never again. I vowed, our embrace sealing fractures. Prejudices lingered, town holdouts, family echoes, but we'd forged armor in unity, love a defiant bloom. By fall's gold turn, Willow Creek felt conquered. The shelter expanded, a LGBT youth program budding under Marta's eye. Elias proposed over pie, rings simple as our start. Build forever? Yes, whispered against lips. Friends celebrated, toasts to misunderstandings mended, conflicts conquered. In the end, hiding yielded to home, love's quiet triumph over shadows.